Hi, how are you today? The improved package has arrived. We're having it fitted in time for FP1. Have a look at the factory report.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Aarava here, and welcome back to my F1 2017 career mode, episode number 76 today for the Japanese Grand Prix in Season 4. We've had our brand new part fitted to the car, which is our tyre wear upgrade, the minor tyre wear upgrade we purchased. Of course, now we've kind of hit a wall in terms of development. We've now only got kind of major parts available to us to upgrade. Of course, those take about 4 weeks, so I'm just trying to eke out every kind of minor upgrade we can do to give us that short-term benefit for the car. Meanwhile, you know, at a certain point, maybe we do a last-minute reliability update, because you can see we are getting pretty damn close to using that 5th extra column that we obviously got at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix by taking those grid penalties, and we're already on the 4th internal combustion engine. So technically we should be moving on to the 5th one probably for this race to give us the best power available for the race itself. So that's going to be a little bit tricky to manage with 4 races to go. So it's either going to be maybe trying to squeeze it out and just take it to the end of the season, or perhaps just taking a small penalty for the internal combustion engine. But obviously after last episode, if you did miss that, by the way, episode number 75, be sure to go check that one out before you see this one, the Malaysian Grand Prix. Following that episode, obviously now we have lost the lead of the Drivers' World Championship, and it's pretty damn crucial now for us to try and finish ahead of Kimi Raikkonen in this race, whatever happens. I'm confident that we can try and do that this weekend, Japan being a pretty damn good circuit for me overall in the game. Obviously last season it was a great race for us, and you can see now we've got a brand new rival. We beat Sebastian Vettel as our previous rival, and we've been handed now our main championship rival, Kimi Raikkonen, as our in-game rival to try and beat for the last 4 rounds. So good to see that. The game also agrees with us, because obviously we know in the past sometimes it's given us very random rivals like Felipe Massa and Esteban Ocon, even though we're nowhere near them in the championship. But we go into qualifying then, and thankfully there shouldn't be any rain forecast for this entire qualifying session, and I don't think there will be for the race as well. So pretty level playing field in terms of that kind of, you know, no weather's going to play a part and maybe mess me over in terms of my pace versus Raikkonen. So it's a straight fight between us. So going through Q1 then, obviously business as usual in Q1, and obviously there's track evolution to maybe go through as we go through the session. But at the moment the Renault's looking very, very strong from last season. Hulkenberg there in 3rd place, Palmer in 5th. So we'll have to see how both of us Red Bulls can manage it, and hopefully we'll be getting a little bit faster. Of course, we got 3rd place, I think it was, last season. So here's hoping we can try and maybe match that or do one better. But in Q2 then, we're on the set of soft tyres now. So there's 2nd compound available to us, and we're doing that standard strategy we've done a few times now in the Red Bull. Definitely most of the time in the Renault car last season, which was qualifying on that 2nd fastest tyre. It will open us up to a bit more of a conservative tyre wear strategy in terms of a one-stop here in Japan. And it looks like, surprisingly, Ricciardo has gone for the same thing, which took me aback quite a bit, because it's not often that my teammate will try the exact same strategy as me. And of course, in Season 3, Hulkenberg also followed me for the first half of the race on the one-stop I was trying here around Japan. So maybe Ricciardo, maybe there's luck for us there that both of us can have a very strong race if he's going to be trying the one-stop as well, because I believe the one-stop should be a pretty straightforward soft to medium tyre stint with no kind of dramas really in terms of having to really do some tyre wear management. So we'll have to see. But we're going on our 2nd flying lap then in Q3. Our first one was a little bit scruffy, and we come across the line after having set a really good lap time, and it's going to be pole position for the Japanese Grand Prix. Really, really stonking pole position lap there from us. Just like last season, the car felt absolutely hooked up in Sector 1. We gained great time there, and then through the back straight down, through Spoon, and then the final few corners, gaining some more time. And absolutely awesome lap for us to get our... I can't even remember remember what number pole this would be. I don't think I've only got maybe pole once before, like completely without having any engine penalties to maybe help us. I really can't remember. It's been that many episodes, obviously 76 now of them, so it's hard to remember completely and recall everything. But yeah, an absolutely amazing pole position at a race where obviously I said we need to try and beat Kimi Raikkonen, so this is the best start to the race weekend as it was possible. You can see there for the engine management then, I changed over to the 5th component of the internal combustion engine in the end, so we are pretty much at the end of our tally for that internal combustion engine, and with 4 episodes to go still, yeah, either there's going to have to be a reliability upgrade on that part to try and eke it out, or we're going to have to take a 6th internal combustion engine, which is going to be extreme, and we haven't done that since Season 1, I don't think. But, considering where we are at the moment in terms of, the car, well, it's got pace, so I don't think, I think taking 1 engine penalty, 1 component penalty, won't be too harsh on us. But obviously that kind of depends on how we do this race and how much we can get ahead of Raikkonen. He's right there, obviously, on the 2nd row. I think that was just behind Sebastian Vettel on the front row with with us, so easily he could try and battle us for first place, and obviously he's won the last 3 rounds, so he's looking very, very good. So let's go to the full grid then, and then we'll see how the race pans out for us.
We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. It's Red Bull in pole position then, and starting alongside in P2 is Sebastian Vettel. Looking down the rest of the grid we have Raikkonen, Hamilton, Daniel Ricciardo and Bottas, Hülkenberg, Perez, Ocon and Jolyon Palmer, Sainz, Massa, Romain Grosjean and Magnussen, Kvyat, Alonso, Lance Stroll and Marcus Ericsson, Wehrlein and Stoffel van Dorn completes the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Right, so here we are on pole position for the Japanese Grand Prix. No cars ahead of us apart from that safety car, which we'll be getting out of the way shortly as we start this race. But you can see that bog standard one stop, no qualms really. It's not going to be much of an issue to manage that tyre wear. And we've also got the additional tyre wear upgrade we literally bought this weekend. So although I thought that would be useful for Mexico, in hindsight actually it's going to be pretty damn useful for here at Japan as well. So let's get just straight into this then for round number 16 of Season 4. Here we go to 5 red lights for the Japanese Grand Prix off pole position. We have to try and beat Kimi Räikkönen today, whatever happens. 5 red lights are out and we are underway. It's a good start for us compared to Sebastian Vettel, who's bogged down quite a bit, and Kimi Räikkönen is looking to overtake him on the left-hand side. Hamilton on the inside. He goes down the inside of both Ferrari cars into P2. We've got one of the Ferrari cars. I think Räikkönen comes back at him though, and he's going to go around the outside of Hamilton, and he's up into P2, and so Vettel has really bottled it off P2 then, off the front row of the grid, and he's down to P4 now, being chased after by my teammate Daniel Ricciardo. At the moment though, Kimi Räikkönen up into second place now, so pretty much this would kind of reverse what happened at Malaysia. Of course, now I'd basically, if we finish like this, it would be 25 points to me, 18 points to Räikkönen, and so I'd get the 7-point advantage and bring that back into the fold and pretty much reset what happened last race. But you can see Hamilton then closely following behind in third, as Räikkönen did lock up into turn 1, so it's not over yet, and maybe I can hope that Hamilton can come and challenge Kimi, as well as Vettel. Of course, he had some good pace in qualifying, just bottled it off the start, and Ricciardo is sticking with us as well. So the top 5 very, very close indeed between the top teams, barring Valtteri Bottas, who I've yet to see really in this race at the moment. And now we have a tank slapper on the exit though of the chicane, so that slows us down somewhat. You can see actually more so it's going to be Hamilton that closes up on Räikkönen rather than Räikkönen on me, and Hamilton may fancy himself as Räikkönen pulls out to maybe make a little lunge to the inside of myself, but it's going to be Hamilton who actually goes for it down the inside of Räikkönen, actually forces him off track a little bit as they go toe to toe, a little bit of wheel banging, and Räikkönen comes back at him though in the same place he overtook him for P2 at the opening lap of the Grand Prix. He gets it back into P2, so Hamilton is trying for sure. So I feel like Hamilton's on my team a little bit at the moment in this race. I'm rooting him on to try and overtake Räikkönen if he can. But as we move on now into the heart of lap 3, into the hairpin though, gone way too deep, locked up on the left tyre, and Räikkönen sailed it to the inside, and he's been very opportunistic there, and he's just jumped at the chance to try and take the lead of the Grand Prix. So now we go neck and neck towards the entire spoon curve, the long left-hander. We're going to have to try and hang this around the outside, which will be very difficult indeed. We'll have to give Räikkönen the room on the left-hand side, get on the curbing level and the exit, try and pinch him towards the apex, but Räikkönen has a much better run-off, and so we have to tuck him back behind. But up into Richmond, look at this go. The drag reduction upgrade we installed earlier in the season is going to work a treat there to get us back into P1 on the left. We'll take the inside line for 130R, and we're taking... Oh, what the hell? Räikkönen's out this Grand Prix. He's just spotted in 130R. The safety car's out. Räikkönen's out this Grand Prix. What on earth is going on there? Literally 1 minute Räikkönen's leading this Grand Prix. I overtake him, and as soon as we go to the inside for 130R, he literally loses it. And on the replay, this is the most weird incident I have ever seen. Räikkönen literally just loses the car by himself due to maybe some dirty air off the back of my exhaust. At the time of just looking back after making the overtake, I thought maybe we may have some controversy on our hands here, but now I'm clearly on board with Räikkönen and now on board with Hamilton there. You can just see that Räikkönen, he just suddenly decided to twitch his wheel right, and that just slammed his car towards the wall then and the gravel. I think that may be the oddest crash I have ever seen in this game so far. Let me know if you guys have seen anything more peculiar than that from yourselves. I don't know quite what's gone on there. I would say that's just Räikkönen maybe getting hit with a wash of dirty air, but that's pretty damn extreme for Räikkönen not being able to control that much dirty air in 130R. It's a high-speed corner, so these F1 cars work, much better in those high-speed conditions when you're having so much more air being pressed down the car. So I highly doubt that the Ferrari car should be able to cope with just a tiny bit of dirty air after being overtaken in that corner. So that is very, very odd situation. Very odd. But now we're on the safety car restart. Then you can see this is Hamilton going inside of a McLaren Honda car. Then, and, oh, what was that? We've got a... Oh, it's a puncher for a Sauber car. That's what that was. That was a bit of debris shooting towards Ricciardo's cockpit. And Verline's spontaneously combusted now. What is going on in this Japanese Grand Prix? Alien work is at work today around Suzuka as Verline gets a puncher straight away on the restart of the safety car then. But you can see that obviously Hamilton overtaking these slower cars as well as Ricciardo and Sebastian Vettel, all of them together on track now as under the safety car they've made their pit stop. I stayed out, of course, because I'm on soft tyres, so the safety car coming out did not affect my strategy. I'm still doing the one stop as normal, but now Hamilton, Ricciardo and Vettel have come in for their pit stop under the safety car. Effectively got a free pit stop, if you will, because obviously all of us bunch up together and they're onto a set of soft tyres. And so now I would imagine that all of them are now going to pit around the same time as me for medium tyres. So really the only difference here now for them is they're going to have to make up some time and overtake these slower cars who have not come in for the pit stops. All these guys are probably on medium tyres or soft tyres from the beginning of the Grand Prix, like myself, and so Hamilton, Ricciardo and Vettel will have to try and make their way through. But you can see Hamilton, Ricciardo and Vettel are making their way through quite steadily right now at the moment. They've all three of them have cleared that Sauber car, and now Hamilton closes up in the back of one of the Toro Rossos, who line astern together on track just behind one of the Williams cars, I believe, as now Hamilton looks to go around the outside of turn one. It's going to be a beautiful little move. He goes off circuit a little bit, but we'll forgive him for that, as it's such a great move to hang it to the outside of that corner, flat out to that corner pretty much until you get to halfway through. Then you just lift off and change down the gears, and so very tricky to lose that, very easy to lose the back end and very tricky to hold it around the outside there. So awesome move there for Hamilton. Meanwhile though, it's a Haas 2-3 at the moment behind myself in first place. We can see the gap I've got to Hamilton at the moment, but of course Hamilton, Vettel and Ricciardo all going to be on fresher soft tyres, pushing hard. And so at the moment I'm just out there by myself trying to do the best job I can, trying to stretch these tyres and protect them a little bit if I can, and that will help us out for the end of the race, of course. Meanwhile, whilst I'm doing that, Hamilton to the inside of 130R, side by side he'll go with the other Toro Rosso. I think that's Carlos Sainz. He's already overtaken Danica Fiat, and Ricciardo is trying to do the same on Fiat in the background there. So Hamilton and Ricciardo looking to make the identical move through the last corner there to the outside of the first part of the chicane, and then I'll turn to the inside then. And so Hamilton making the progress, Ricciardo is similarly enough, and then you can see in the background there just about Sebastian Vettel also fancying himself to go down the inside of the Russian, then into the turn one with DRS open then. So all three of these guys making some steady progress, pretty much a car a lap at this stage, at this rate at the moment. And so Vettel keeping on the back of Ricciardo, and there's a one car gap between Ricciardo and Hamilton. So you could say at the moment Hamilton looks maybe the more favourable one to really make a move towards myself in this Grand Prix later on, as we now shift on later into the Grand Prix, right up the chuff of the first Haas of the afternoon. I think that is, I can't quite tell, I think that may be Romain Grosjean then, as Hamilton now closes up towards the hairpin now, right up his gearbox, and he's going to make a dive to the inside. Won't need to, as there's a lock up there from Grosjean, and Hamilton sailed it down the inside, much like Raikkonen did to myself in the hairpin. Very easy on this year's game to make a lock up there into that corner, I feel, compared to the previous Codemasters games, because obviously they've redone this circuit, and so they've actually got the camber in the hairpin. I feel like the camber does kind of affect the way you take that corner, the kind of entry to it. But now we move on to lap 14 then, and yellow flags are going to be called out, and is this going to be another safety car? Yes, it is. So I was thinking maybe it's just going to be a virtual safety car. No, it's the full safety car then, and so that will kind of, well, I don't really know if it will play into our hands necessarily. I guess it kind of would do, but what it is going to allow us to do is we're going to change things up now. You'll notice we're going to go onto this set of super soft tyres, the red wall super soft tyres, because now obviously we're going to go around for at least 2 laps minimum under the safety car. I may as well go on these tyres. I think they'll go the distance. We've got that tyre upgrade this weekend, and I think this was something that you guys were telling me last season in Season 3, that I could have technically gone on Super Softs in Season 3 as well, in the Renault whilst I was defending from Bottas, and I think it was Vettel, wasn't it, in P3. So I'm going to do that this time round. I'm going to take the opportunity to do that, because with the safety car now, we're definitely going to be able to pull that off, I think. And if we're struggling towards the end a little bit, I think we'll just have to deal with it. But I think I want to try that just to see what the pace is going to be like. But this is why the full safety car came out then. It was for Nico Hulkenberg, unfortunately, who looked to have some decent pace. I think he was only 2 positions behind Vettel, before the second safety car came out. So a shame for Hulkenberg there to retire due to a mechanical fault, it looks like. But now we're on the restart then. So I got a really good restart the first time round because I backed up the Haas. But on this restart, I've bolted away from Hamilton, but not as much as I did to the Haas. But the man who's on the move more so is Sebastian Vettel now. He's going to tuck up right behind my teammate Dan Ricciardo, and he's going to get in the slipstream, going to try and maybe make a move to the inside. Ricciardo goes defensive somewhat, but Vettel down the inside. He's going to push Ricciardo off a little bit, get the elbows out on the exit, but Ricciardo's going to equally come back at him then. And so the battle continues on between these two former teammates. Bit of contact made there from Sebastian Vettel on the left-hand side, and Ricciardo shoved him off, and Vettel's round, and oh my god, the Toro Rosso comes in and absolutely RKOs himself. T-bone crash here. It's all kicked off at this Japanese Grand Prix. It's been absolute chaos. Raikkonen losing into the wall, Toro Rosso smashing Ferraris. Absolutely insane there. And I'm surprised, I'm shocked even that the FI have not called out a third safety car in this race for that. In the S section as well, which is such a tough area to kind of collect cars. But here we go, looking at the replay now, on board with Sebastian Vettel then, obviously going to toe-to-toe with his former teammate from the Red Bull days, and you can see the first bit of contacts made, and then actually hang on, it's not even, I don't think Ricciardo even made some contact with to shove him off. I thought Ricciardo pushed him wide. But really, I think that's more so Vettel just losing the back end a little bit, and then the absolute slam for Carlos Sainz, loses the front wing, right tyre off, and he's parked it on the apex there. So I'm really shocked the FI have not called another safety car out for that. I'm sure maybe they got the crane out here at Japan to really clear him quite fast. But yeah, I don't think that was actually Ricciardo's fault, to be fair. I think that was just Vettel actually losing the back end by himself. There was maybe a tiny bit of contact, but it really wasn't as major as it looked like on the third person kind of panning shot then. So we set the fastest up of the Grand Prix then on lap 16. This will be, I think that is lap 19, my bad, lap 19, can't quite see it on the top right, but lap 19 then. So we've got only 8 laps to go in this Grand Prix, and we've got pretty damn good pace, obviously setting fast up the Grand Prix so far, because we've had so many safety cars, and no one's really set a fast time on the Super Softs earlier on, and obviously me being on lower fuel on the Super Softs, that's working well for me to set that pace. Meanwhile, Ricciardo is going to try and feed it around the outside of the Haas to try and get up into third place. This will be Hamilton's already obviously up into second place, so now it's myself from Hamilton to Daniel Ricciardo as we now move on to lap 24. So the Grand Prix has flown by for ourselves. Nothing really honestly has happened for us too much. A little bit of pedestrian really in this race, especially on these tyres, trying to make sure they don't wear out. Of course, we do have pace on them, but we don't want to completely wreck them towards the end of this Grand Prix, because of course Hamilton and Ricciardo's tyres won't be going off anytime soon on mediums. But you can see Ricciardo is right behind Hamilton then as we look behind us. So I'm trying to think how we can maybe help Ricciardo out, and so by coming onto the main straight, I'm going to pull to the right here and effectively pull off the racing line, and that's going to basically cut off any kind of long range tow and slipstream Hamilton's going to get off me. And that actually kind of works. As I look behind me into turn 1, I kind of felt like Ricciardo did actually close up a little bit to Hamilton on that lap, just by me not allowing Hamilton to get a long range tow, and Ricciardo being able to obviously get one on Hamilton. And so as we move on later, I think this is 1 or 2 laps later in the Grand Prix then, onto lap 25, lap 26, and again you can see I'm pulling to the left hand side there up the road to try and break that tow, and Ricciardo now has got a great tow down the inside of Hamilton. Maybe go side by side through 130R. Yes they do. It's so close to the front right tyre to Hamilton's side pod, but unfortunately Ricciardo can't do anything to chicane. A little bit disappointing, to be honest, from Ricciardo. We know how good he is in real life at the dive bombs, but it looks like his AI doesn't want to do the same thing and play ball this afternoon, but he may have another chance again. You can see I'm going very aggressively to the right hand side to try and cut off any slipstream. Hamilton though does have DRS, but Ricciardo equally so, but Ricciardo unable to make any kind of pass into the inside of turn 1, and so it may have to just wait till maybe the last lap of the Grand Prix to maybe try one last ditch effort as we now move on to that said last lap of the Grand Prix, that 27 out of 27. You can see our tyres, our Super Softs, have worn out quite a bit, 52% on the left rear tyre, but they're not too bad, to be honest, and the pace has been okay enough. And you can see I'm now kind of cracking out the popcorn, trying to see behind me every few seconds, looking behind to see if Ricciardo is going to make this move, but I don't think he is, unfortunately, for me and the team. But that's not going to bother me today, because we're coming through the last few corners then of this Japanese Grand Prix for first place, and with Raikkonen in the DNF after a spectacular crash in third on the third lap of this Grand Prix, we're going to get a really great 25 points on him completely then, and we're going to get right right back into this championship then, with now a comfy lead once more, going to these final few rounds then. The next one obviously being the USA Grand Prix. But there we go, this second win of our Season 4 here, and our second win for Red Bull Racing, lifting up that trophy. Really, really happy with that one. We control that race to perfection pretty much, you know, pretty easy time for us, and, you know, just did a Sebastian Vettel of old from the Red Bull era. You know, didn't push harder than we needed to, just did enough, and, you know, just conserved the engine if we could. You know, I didn't run too much rich mix. I'd saved about 2.5 worth of fuel after those 2 safety cars, but there was no point putting it up into rich mix for every single lap and just wrecking the turbocharger or the MGH or MGK. So tried to be conservative there, a bit tactical for the rest of the season in that aspect. But you can see there that huge point swing then back into the lead of this championship, and so that's absolutely awesome going to the last few rounds, because we can see, I mean, Raikkonen won the last 3 rounds, and I still maintain the Ferrari definitely is still the fastest car by some way. So going to the last 4 rounds, that's going to help us out just to kind of settle the nerves a little bit of, you know, we can maybe allow Raikkonen to finish ahead, but I don't think we can allow what's happened in the last 3 rounds. You know, every time Raikkonen's won that race, we've just only been second or third, and that's a huge margin to lose. So I need to step up the game a little bit, and also maybe hope that likes of Hamilton, Vettel and Ricciardo can also step up their game and maybe try and challenge for the wins instead of just me and Raikkonen going toe-to-toe, because that'll be a little bit kind of more pressurised for us. But after that race, we get enough points to maybe get a reliability update, but I wasn't too sure about it, and honestly I wanted to maybe save up for one last actual performance upgrade, which you know only takes 1 week for us now, so I'm going to save that up for next time round maybe. But anyway guys, if you have enjoyed that episode, the win at the Japanese Grand Prix, smash that like button, let me know what you thought in the comments below, and if you haven't, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I've been aarava, hope you enjoyed the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.